Welcome to Resource Thursday with Quickpass. I'm your host, Paco LeBron. This is a show where you can come and enjoy whether you are a one-person shop or have many employees. This is the show for you. Let me go ahead and introduce my guest and co-host, Rick Smith over at Renactus Technology. Rick, how are you today?
Doing good, Paco. Doing good. How are you guys?
You know, like what I like to say, better than I deserve. And I know John Dubinsky is going to get me on that one. And then we also have our guest for today. We have Jimmy Hatzell over at Quickpass. Jimmy, how are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. Just happy to be on the show. So thanks for having me.
Very cool. Very cool. So speaking of John Dubinsky, it's funny because we usually have our run notes and show notes here, and those all disappeared because he's no longer part of the environment anymore. So I'm flying blind. But luckily, I've done this for so often.
John Dubinsky.
So I'll be flying blind here today and try and do this from memory. But before we go into everything and talk about Quickpass, because I'm super excited to hear about what Quickpass is all about, I like to talk about my favorite thing, and that's TechCon Unplugged. TechCon Unplugged is officially back September 16th to the 18th at the Hilton Rosemont Chicago O'Hare. There you will be able to not only get great information and resources from like-minded vendors that are trying to contribute and help for the community. We'll also have great content from your peers and other IT experts to really assist and help and just get that good, really going that route to how you're trying to improve your IT service business. And then most importantly, I think we all miss this, is the one-to-one interaction, you know, press flesh, shake hands, go ahead and press elbows with like-minded business owners that are in your field and just trying to figure this all out. Because as Jeff used to like to say back in the day, all tides right ships, or what's that saying go? I forgot what it is, but essentially, basically, we have to come together as a community. Yeah, that's the one. So basically, we all got to come together as a community to be able to help, because, you know, not just one person is doing this by themselves. So again, head over to techconunplugged.com, get your ticket. Tickets are $299. However, there is an early bird pricing until April 4th for a discount of $199. So $199 total price, not $199 off the ticket price. So head over to techconunplugged.com. Also, you'll have the information for the hotel where we're going to be at and all the other details as well. All-inclusive ticket for the meals, and we're going to have some great socials that we're going to have some details coming out. So by the end of this month. So stick around, check out for more updates, techconunplugged.com, and we'll see you there. All right. So Jimmy, really appreciate you taking the time and coming out onto the show. You are definitely not a newbie onto the show. You have been here before. So why don't you go ahead and give us a quick intro about yourself for those that may not know who you are, and then we'll just dive right into Quickpass.
Sure. Yeah. And again, glad to be on the show. You have to forgive me if I'm a little slow this morning. When we scheduled, I didn't realize that I was going to be on a flight last night coming from the Threat Locker show. Got delayed a little bit. So, you know, I'm up and ready to go though. Pulled my laptop out of my like suitcase this morning, and we're ready to rock. I got my coffee, so just trying to wake up a little bit. But anyway, my name is Jimmy Hatzell. I'm the head of marketing at Quickpass. I've worked in IT for a number of years. I've ran IT for a small business before. I worked for a company called Scout Cybersecurity, which a lot of people in the MSP space know. It was acquired by Barracuda last year, and I worked for Barracuda for a little bit too. I come from a very technical background and a cyber background, and you know, I joke because I feel like I have some edge on a lot of marketing people who are always like reading studies, trying to figure out what IT people like and what they do, and blah blah blah. And you know, I'm lucky enough to have been there and done some of the stuff. But yeah, just, you know, I started at Quickpass about a month ago, month and 10 days ago. So it's been great already. We've been super busy, and yeah, just trying to get the word out there. So super happy to be on the show. And you know, I always love what you guys are doing. You put out such great content, get people connected with, you know, what's going on, news, resources. So that's it.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. Similar to you, kind of trying to shake off the cobwebs, because I also was out over in Iowa for the MSP Growth Summit thrown by my good friend Juan Fernandez. So definitely something that he just started out with the MSP Growth Coalition. So you guys check that out as well. But yeah, I think that, you know, what you said is that there is a great opportunity for those that really know the industry, and like for those that don't know you, like you're very active on like LinkedIn, and you're in a lot of the circles. You know, we see you at a lot of the shows too as well. So like, you know, industry knows you. You're really diving into the space to try and understand the needs of managed service providers. And then when I saw that you were over at Quickpass, I reached out because I wanted to know more about Quickpass itself. And you know, I know you don't really get in bed per se with just anybody, it's any vendor. So I'm curious to hear a little bit more about what Quickpass is all about, and what it can do for IT service providers.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think like Quickpass, the reason I joined is because of the founders mainly, and the product. So, you know, I'll get into what we do a little bit, but I just want to give a little background on it because I think it's important. So Quickpass was founded by these two guys, Jim and Mateo, and they've known each other for a long time and had sort of different, you know, rises in their careers. Mateo was software developer, worked for a number of, you know, really big companies, Silicon Valley, New York, all that, and ran a software development agency for a number of years. And Jim ran an MSP and ran an MSP for about 20 years. And eventually sold to fully managed, you know, one of the biggest MSPs in Canada. They recently got acquired again. But yeah, so they were talking, and Mateo and Jim were talking. Mateo's going, we could build a great product, but I need to know like what should we build? Like what does this industry know? I know you know this MSP industry, and they started working on it in about 2018 and launched first Quickpass product in 2019. And here we are 3 years later, beginning to really grow. And I came on to run marketing for them and you know, speed that growth up. But there's also like all the growth's been organic so far. It's all been people referring, and like, you know, MSP Geek Slack channel on Reddit, like, you know, people solving really specific needs for MSPs. But anyway, what we do is privileged access management for MSPs. And when you look at PAM, or privileged access management, there's a lot of enterprise companies that, you know, try to service MSPs and don't really understand the business model. They're missing things like multi-tenancy, working on features that aren't really as important. So Quickpass, we look at it, you know, how can we secure your techs and your privileged accounts that you use inside your MSP and make operations really easy? And then how can we secure your end users and make sure their access to their privileged accounts and their just accounts in general is easy, seamless, secure, and cut down that interaction with the help desk. So at Quickpass, we have two sets of products. The first is focused on MSP internal use. It's called QGuard. So we do things like password rotation. So we'll integrate with tools like IT Glue or Voodoo, you know, like PSAs, like, you know, ConnectWise, and what we'll actually do is you leave your passwords in the place that it already is if you want. Like a lot of MSPs have their passwords in IT Glue in the vault inside there, and they're not looking for another password manager. They're looking to secure those passwords better. So we build integrations with things like Active Directory and Azure AD, or, you know, Office 365, M365, whatever we're calling it this week. And local machines as well. And we can take those privileged accounts, right? Because how many people have that, you know, admin account, or, you know, you probably have matured a little bit, but that like Prodigy Tech's account on a local admin machine that has the same password on every single machine that hasn't been changed in, you know, God knows how long. And right? All they have to do is they can log in at any machine. So we solve that problem. We can rotate those passwords every single day. And we have a button that MSPs can use. You know, if a tech leaves or someone accesses the account, you can reset that specific password or every password inside the organization, and then automatically update your documentation tools. And then a lot of MSPs, there's a big shift and a big movement where you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So people are wanting to take their passwords out of their documentation tools, which I completely understand. So we have a password vault as well, where MSPs can store their privileged account passwords. You don't need to mix like your Spotify account password with, the domain admin account password, right? You can keep them in separate vaults and really lock down your Quickpass vault, because at the end of the day, do you want to store your passwords? You want to store your passwords with a cyber specific company who's focused just on cybersecurity and just protecting your credentials. And that's really a lot of things that we do for on the MSP, protecting their privileged accounts. But for end users, we saw some major problems with just password resets. I mean, how much time is wasted on password resets, like across the board? Rick's laughing a little bit. It's like every morning, right? You have the repeat offenders, like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. A lot of companies with like customer service type roles, like banks and stuff like that. You'll get a lot of password resets. But we built an app that end users can just biometrics, verify their face, or use their fingerprint, and they can reset their password on the Quickpass app on their phone. And it's even like to the point where you mistype your password 5 times and you just get a push notification to the Quickpass app, and then they can reset it right there or unlock their account if they just mistyped it or realized caps lock was on or something. And we also do end user verification. So, I've been talking to a lot of MSPs. I think this is big unspoken problem that we're going to need to really address over the next couple of years, as MSPs have become more of a target for hackers, unfortunately. I'm not saying that to scare anyone. It's just the truth. But how do you know that as you're growing, especially, how do you know that the person calling into your help desk is the person they say they are? So with our set of tools for securing end users, we can actually send them a push notification to the Quickpass app, and they can verify a code on their phone. And if they don't, some people don't want to install like personal phones, company app, whatever. We can just pull the information from your PSA, send it over email or send it over text, either for the password reset or for that end user verification. And, we got a lot of cool things we're working on. Next thing is the Quickpass API, which you'll be seeing a lot more of in the near future. But as a whole, we are 100% focused on how can we build tools to help the authentication and operations of your internal IT and your end users, and what that looks like specifically for MSPs, because it is very, very different than internal IT, enterprise IT, mid-market IT. So yeah, I've done a lot of talking, so I don't know. Things. I don't know.
No, I mean, there's definitely a lot to unpack, and let's go into the MSP portion of it.
Sure.
And exactly like you mentioned, I think the biggest piece for us is that, there is that conversation in the community is, where do we store our secure information? Yeah. Right. Because I think either some people are doing it in their PSA, and then you hear about these big breaches that are happening with PSAs. Then we're like, all right, well, we'll put it all in our password managers. Then it's like, all right, well, where do we store the 2FA codes? Don't keep them in the same situation. So there's a lot of these questions of siloing, what do we have to figure out for security? And then there's the convenience that goes behind it as well. Right. And I think the industry is trying to figure that out, but obviously the more, like I always hear the phrase is like, the more security you have, the least convenience you're going to have, right? And you got to figure out what that balance is, or what route you want to take, because you can't have security and just also have the same password across the whole network, right? And exactly like what you just mentioned, and I want to get Rick's input as well, is like, to do what you just mentioned on like, hey, it'll automatically change the passwords X amount of times, or have a click of a button to reset the passwords on a time base, you have to build those scripts, right, to possibly do that automated, right? And that's kind of what we have. We actually have a script that automatically does it every 30 days. But again, the work that it took to try and do that versus like what you said, like I think a lot of IT service providers have some type of admin credentials in their environment so that they can easily access it in case whatever happens. So it's an interesting take on that process. But Rick, I wanted to get your feedback on just really trying to, where we're at today, right? And trying to figure out what is the best way to, or at least what's been going through your thought process of how to secure and make things as easy / secure for your environment as possible.
Right. It becomes a challenge. We started out, you say, don't just write your password down on a pen and paper, on a piece of paper, put it here. Then you store it here. And then we find out, hey, there's a breach there, or that's not secure. Then you go to another thing. That's not secure. So you're back to pen and paper again sometimes.
And put it in the drawer.
It's yeah, exactly. It's just funny. I was working with a client yesterday, helping him to log onto another network, which he services, in his business. And every time we got to the password part, he went and he opened his book and he went and, he looked, he got his password, put it in. And then I happened to just glance. I didn't want to look at his password, but I look at the book and I see he's got like maybe a 5x7 book, but he's got like 20 passwords down, and you see a line across of them because they keep, because it changes all the time. And he says, a lot of times I forget this thing and I have to redo it again and rewrite it. So there's definitely a need, from the client side and from our side. We use some password managers now, but what happens with us now is the password is changed when we change it. I do like the idea of a rotating password that changes. Now, here's the question. That password changes, it feeds to to Hoodoo or IT Glue or whoever. And is that where we're getting the password from, or is Quickpass putting that password in for us? Is it actually putting it in the system or wherever we're trying to get into?
Well, right now, it'll go in the documentation tools you're already using.
Okay.
If you're looking for some sort of like credential injections and stuff, I would just say, watch our releases coming up in the near future. Stay tuned.
Okay.
That's definitely the direction that we're heading, because people have given feedback like you on that. One really cool thing about Quickpass is we actually have it's called Canny. It's like a features voting community. Mm-hmm. And all of our customers can go in and vote, upvote, downvote, add product suggestions. And we literally take that when we're making our roadmap. So, that's one of the things that has been mentioned in there and that we're definitely prioritizing.
Okay.
Very cool. Now, as far as, and one additional thing too, is just time, right? Like for those that are just, don't have the resources to have multiple members, or they're just trying to kind of man the ship themselves, this is a great opportunity to have something very simplistic to just get that going and keep secure at the same process. Now, as far as kind of how you've seen the adoption of this product, because, everyone, I think, at least in the last 18 months, are starting to get a little bit vendor fatigue because they're seeing a lot of new and great things. How has the adoption rate, or how has really your partners that have took on Quickpass really either replaced things or added it on to their servicing to make their lives easier?
I think a lot of people are adding something like this for the first time, and people are taking a big look at what they're doing for security, and people are redoing their security stacks. And I think we're solving a big need there. So there's not like a lot of we're going head to head, blah, 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 blah. Sure. I will say there are people who have come to us from, other places and looking for a new solution. Absolutely. So, and there's a lot of needs too, right? Because people were using things like PowerShell scripts to do everything. And then they're needing to meet certain requirements, and they need certain, encryption standards, blah, 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 stuff like that, but also change control. Like, how is the password documentation? Who's changing it? All of that. How is it being documented in your PSA or in your documentation tool? So we're able to solve a lot of those needs because, everyone's picking a framework, right? NIST, ISO, CIS, whatever, and they're starting to fill things out, and they're starting to, meet certain compliances. So I think that's driving a lot of the adoption for it. But Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're entering like a endpoint security market or something like that where there's like a million vendors.
Sure.
PAM, privileged access management as a whole for MSPs is sort of new, and the password rotation is probably the most common piece of it. But we're really taking a lot of those things that the enterprise has been doing for maybe the past 5-10 years and bringing them, to the MSP market in a way that is consumable and works across multiple tenants.
Very cool. Now, I would imagine you have the vendors listed on the website. I think I browsed through it a little bit on who you integrate right now. Are you also helping swap out MSPs like passwords and their password managers, or that's really not in the scope right now? It's really focusing on whether you've seen that a lot of them are storing that into documentation centers.
Yeah, the majority of users are storing them in their like the vaults inside their documentation tools. I will say, we're not trying, like we have our own vault, but, some people have certain vaults that they like or password managers they like. We're really focused on rolling out the Quickpass API, as soon as possible. And a lot of those password vaults have SDKs and they would make, because it's a zero knowledge thing, right? We don't want the master password to your vault, right? But how can we update things and write credentials to what you're using in a seamless way? And, enterprise products integrate with enterprise products, but enterprise products don't integrate with MSP specific products a lot of the time. So that's, why we're really focused on Hoodoo and IT Glue right now. But, in the future, I could see for sure, an ability to write passwords out to a different type of password manager if that's what you're using and that's what you're used to.
Gotcha. Very cool. Now, kind of going into the end user, I think you mentioned a lot of cool things on there, but one of the two things I want to highlight that at least I believe is an issue that a lot of IT service providers have is trying to like the password resets, right? Yeah. And there's no good way of doing that other than like enabling the feature for, let's say, example, for self reset passwords. And then, got to make sure 2FA is set up. And like, so there's a lot of that going on to try and figure that piece out, right? So like, and then like with you, Rick, like if you were to pull your ticket history right now, how many of those are password resets of some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, a good 40-50% of them, easy. And that's a shame.
And you're probably spending what, like 10-15 minutes a pop at that
part.
And because you're reading the email, getting in there, resetting it, sending it back, response. So 50% with 15 minutes, that the time alone is just insane. And I'm imagining, Jimmy, this is probably what is one of the biggest pieces that Quickpass is trying to solve, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you want to join our sales team? I don't know. We got to roll through. Yeah, and another piece of it that I forgot to mention, that the jet lag a little bit. We actually solve the AD Connect problem, right? So you have passwords in O365 and you have them in local AD. And we, instead of trying to sync them back and forth, we just write to both at the same time, which makes it a lot easier. But absolutely, I mean, we've seen password reset tickets drop 90+% in almost every rollout.
Yeah. And that in a secure fashion, right?
Yes.
And then the biggest piece, which what you said, and this has been the thing that we've been trying to figure out how to combat, and I'm trying to nail it into my text as well, is end user verification, right? Because like that's a huge piece, especially for smaller MSPs, where you may think or know it's so and so or the person, but like if an email request comes in or whatever, a lot of us don't have the process to do that in the first place, let alone what do we do to verify? Now, I remember when I used to work in corporate America, we had our processes defined and we had to, all right, tell me what was the last whatever. And, and then like, oh, I don't remember. And there are times where they're just like, look, I just need my thing reset. I don't know what information to give you because I don't remember half of the time because they're business owners and they're flying, 90 miles per hour trying to figure out their own stuff. So what's the best way of doing it? And I love how you just mentioned, like there's an app or you can use other communication methods similar to like if you were to do verification with a bank, right? They're just going to send you a code, verify it's you, boom, and call it a day. I love the fact that you have the app that is tied to the biometrics of an actual device, because now you have a for sure, hey, we set this up, we know it's you. So if someone comes in, hey, we're going to send you a push notification. You're essentially doing that 2FA without them even knowing it's 2FA. It's like, hey, just you got a prompt on your phone. Can you just let me know that's it? All right, now I can go ahead and proceed moving forward. So that's amazing on that end user verification, because that solves a huge piece for someone trying to get the process down, and also allows you to really just figure out, okay, I can confirm with an activity log that this person is who they said in case anything were to go down. What drove that, or kind of how did that feature end up being highlighted as, hey, like this is something that's a need?
Jim Jessup, man, he ran an MSP for a long time. He knew the problems. He's our co-founder and COO, and he said this is a major problem that I've always had, and nobody's figured out a good way to do it. So that he was adamant on integrating that in. Another piece of it is we've seen a couple. It's not like happening a lot, but I've seen it happen a couple times where hacker groups will target MSPs and then actually call their end users up and then try to get information from their end users. They'll call the end users up like, hey, I'm with, Prodigy Techs. I wanted to, can you give me your password so we can blah, 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 blah. And even to the point where we've seen hacking groups set up fake websites like, .net instead of .com, or like one letter off, and copy the whole website over and say, go to our website, put in the information. So people who are in that situation, we've had one MSP in particular called us like frantically trying to figure this out. And then they just, they use the end user verification, because the end users the first thing you're going to get is a push notification from us. And if you're not getting that, it's not us. And then the end user can say, how do I know that it's Paco? How do I know that it's Rick? Send me that notification to my Quickpass app. And then,
And it's a big piece too, especially for like, myself trying to expand and scale. Like they're not going to probably know all my new members all the time, right? And if we're scaling at a frantic pace, and they just happen to call at the right time of who I hired, and I have new techs that are remote, they won't know, right? And this is a great way of solving that. Kind of shifting gears a little bit on just Quickpass and how you're trying to do the adoption. I imagine Quickpass is starting or has a partner program that they're trying to kind of roll this out. Can you talk a little bit more about how that has been introduced to IT service providers to try and take advantage of these type of offerings?
Sure, absolutely. And I ran Scout's partner program for a number of years, and we were sort of known for the sales and marketing aspect of it and really good sales enablement tools. And so I'm taking a lot of those principles that I use to make that partner program. And as we build out the Quickpass partner program, I think like we're focused on a couple things. One, product roadmap. Our partners have the number one say in what they need and what they're going to do. And we have direct access to the MSP community. So that's the top thing that you're getting. You're getting your voice heard. You're getting a say. We charge, our pricing is set up per tech. So if you want to roll out really the self-service password reset and user verification feature, you can charge whatever you want for it. That's totally up to you. We don't, some of our partners will just roll it out to everyone because it's very affordable, I think. And then, in their QBRs say, we did this cybersecurity initiatives, justify their 5% or 10% or 20%, whatever it is, annual rate increase. And then others will just charge, a couple dollars or, $1 per end user. And you can make significant margin off that as well with your cost sort of fixed, no matter how many clients you bring on. So that has been ways people have been taking advantage of it. But one thing that we're, trying to do right now, like we have sort of like the onboarding and rollout partner program really set up really well. But I think for the cybersecurity sales and marketing and education, there's some work to be done there. And that's, my primary focus over the next 5-6 months of as we continue to roll out our partner program. But, it's brand new. It's started, the day I started. So
Gotcha.
a lot, we're open to feedback and we're always looking to get better.
No, and that's great, because I think that's what really helps out. And then especially with the community and being able to voice their input and opinions to help shape that. We love having resources to come in and really take that feedback in, because it just helps everybody else in the end. Jimmy, as we kind of round out the show, is there anything that we didn't touch on or that you'd like to share kind of more about Quickpass, and or for those that would like to get involved with Quickpass, how would they kind of enroll in the program?
Yeah, I mean, you could just go to our website, getquickpass.com. And, we have an option on there to book a demo right from the, you can just sign up right on our website. I guess what I'll just say is cybersecurity is a process. It's not a single product. So, we're a part of that process, and we're here to help every MSP on their their journey and plan to get more secure. And, I commend everyone for doing that, because it's what we got to do. We're the right. We're the key to the whole thing. Everybody's not going to get secure unless we lead the way. So I guess I'll leave everyone with that.
No, I gotcha. And then if for anyone who wanted to reach out to you and see a little bit more about just to pick your brain, maybe had some feedback for you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
You can Slack me an MSP group. You can message me on Reddit. Both my usernames are Jimmy Hatzell. You can message me on LinkedIn. I answer LinkedIn faster than I answer emails. My name is Jimmy Hatzell on LinkedIn, and you can email me, jimmy@getquickpass.com. I'm pretty good at getting back to the community. So even if you're just like, hey, your hair's too long, you should cut it, whatever, like I'll be sure to get back to you.
No, yeah, Jimmy's very active on the socials. I see him on LinkedIn. And it's not all just Quickpass stuff. I mean, he's a great dude, and he's got a lot of fun stuff that he posts on that may have nothing to do with IT or whatever, but it's definitely fun content that he posts on there. Rick, any closing thoughts / how do you want anyone to find you and what you're up to nowadays?
Don't find me. No. Again, as Paco alluded to at the beginning of the show, I always give this at the end. Everyone knows this, but TechCon is coming up September 16th to the 18th. We are working very hard. Things are starting to take form, vendors, plans. We're still laying out stuff. So we ask again, anyone who has any questions, suggestions, please reach out to us. info@mspunplugged.com. You can reach out to me personally at rick@mspunplugged.com. We just want to, again, continue to take strides to make sure that this TechCon is the best one we've had and continue to grow. Remember, as I always keep saying, I know I'm stealing the phrase, but TechCon is for us and by us. So it's just our goal to make sure that everyone comes, has a great time, get some great learnings that they can take back to help their business grow. So again, please, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, reach out to us and let us know.
Yep. And then if I don't see Rick with a FUBU shirt, I'll be very upset.
I got to reach out to David John now.
But no, yeah, exactly like what Rick said. And then, we should have some updates on the website. I noticed that there hasn't been much updates there. We've signed some new great vendors. We have some great speakers that are like-minded peers, along with a couple of vendor speakers as well. So stay tuned. Those updates should be coming up here in the next week or two. Tech Talk Tuesdays, you may notice that there's been a little bit of a drought. For those that want to come on and talk to us a little bit about your business as an MSP or an IT service provider, we'd love to have you on. But we actually will be coming back this next Tuesday and talk a little bit more about what me and Rick have been doing in the trenches. So stay tuned and just catch us every Tuesday and Thursday. We appreciate you tuning in. If you want to catch the video podcast, it's youtube.com/MSP Unplugged or facebook.com/MSP Unplugged. You can hit this notification button and subscribe and allow us to notify you whenever we have these type of episodes. And sometimes there's a few surprise ones here and there. Also, you can go ahead and take us on the go. You can go ahead and download us on your favorite podcatcher app. We're on Amazon Music, Spotify, and on Apple Podcast as well. Again, we appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you next time on MSP Unplugged.